Like, oh, oh, this one, no, this one. Oh no, I'm so sorry. It's like you
It's
don't have to.
okay.
It's fine. We're figuring it out.
I'm
I can't
starting
get to
to...
zero though.
No
I can't go.
worries.
I can't like
Yeah,
go
me
back.
neither. I can't get to zero for some
There,
reason.
is there a
Like,
work that we
oh,
want to see
oh,
there? Well, let me just
I'm just
refresh and
letting you
I'll
know that I've
make sure.
started the live stream.
Okay.
Just because I'm setting everything up.
Okay.
Actions, becoming presentator. We can continue to talk casually, but
Oh
we'll be
yeah.
talking whilst people will be hearing us. I'm not gonna share my screen. I need to share a medium. So how do I do this? Oh,
Is
Vedran.
this zero?
This is the YouTube link. There you go. Can you share your screen, by the way?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Awesome.
I think that
Share
this
and
is
starting
zero.
video. There we go.
I don't want to leave here yet,
Okay,
just in
it's
case
working.
I can't get back. That's not even one.
Is the zero working or not?
I don't think it is, so
Okay, let's just
I
hope
might
there's
just
nothing
refresh. If we have to go
to...
to zero, which I don't think
Oh,
we do until
on the
later.
new map, there's no zeros. I got the new map as well, which I'll be guiding you through.
Maybe new
Awesome.
map.
Yeah, we got a new map through email, like 45 seconds ago.
Okay.
It's
I'm
okay,
here
it's
for
gonna
it.
be
Yeah,
fine.
it's totally okay.
And we still got like 4 minutes. So if you're tuning on this stream from the future right now, you can skip 4 minutes ahead because the next 4 minutes are gonna be just us not
Cats.
doing the slow run.
This is definitely not
No,
a slow
it's
run.
definitely not a speed run actually.
Speed run. Definitely not a speed run. Oh, look
No.
at this corner. Did I share volume? Did you hear that?
No, you did not share volume actually.
Let me see if I can do that.
Go for it.
Mm, it doesn't give me the option.
Hmm.
It's a bummer. I can describe the sounds.
Oh shit, that was one
Ah,
of the nice ones that
this
I...
one, yeah,
Yeah. I've
there's something about it.
rarely seen something like that. You know what? It really reminds me of some of your old 3D stuff. Actually, some of
This?
the... Actually, not exactly what you used to do, but when I used to take your mesh and I used to glitch it, and its
Hmm.
hands used to be like really, really thin on the ends.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that was my like first model ever of a person. Um, Reminds me kind of the stuff you did with like that first photo, like the very first glitch piece that
Ooh,
we ever made together, where
like
I'm
the
in like some dress or something. I don't know.
drawn glitchy patterns. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, you don't get the sound.
No, I don't. I unfortunately don't get the sound.
Don't think I can share it. It doesn't give me the option.
Shit. Well, we'll
So if
have
I get
to.
startled, I'm sorry if I startle other people, because sometimes I get startled by walking up to the sounds.
Let me just block. Just handling some blue button stuff. Shall we start
That's very
in
nice.
2 minutes?
Of course, it's Tokyo.
Oh, what is that?
It is.
That's Brent.
I can't tell. Multiple
Brentolium.
indices.
That is funny as
Brentolum.
hell. It looks like these sort of point of view glitches.
Mm-hmm.
Not like this sort of OP art which you used to see where... Oh, that's completely different now.
And then it changed.
Yeah.
It was one thing and now it is another.
Okay, Vedran's saying let's wait 15 minutes for the old academic quarter, so I guess we can just wander around for 15
Okay,
minutes.
I'm just gonna try to load some things.
Oh, there's a warning on this one.
I like that. Is this the piece though? Oh dear.
Is that a jump startle thing?
Oh gosh. Did you catch that out of
Yeah, I saw you
out
get
of-
startled.
it was very I just meant like I wonder if it was so loud that I should take it slightly off of my good ear. This one
Language.
sounds
Yeah, you could also describe the sound.
very dancey old
Okay.
animation dream. Oh, they actually just
Oh, that's the DVD menu, isn't it?
yeah. Oh, I mean,
Oh,
yeah, that
I
definitely
haven't
says
seen a
DVD. I
DVD
totally.
menu in years.
It's really interesting. I'm getting like some of these like in the star. Um, I'm doing like shaders
Yeah. Wait, you're
and
doing shaders right now?
sometimes like loosely just making
Oh,
materials
right.
in
Okay.
Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
Um, something's yelling at me, but I get that can't kind of same weird artifacty
Yeah.
stuff, which usually you're at least I wasn't trying to get.
It's sort of this tiny, like grainy, very digital, grainy, and very thin because it's often the resolution of your screen when you're doing GLSL shaders. Whereas when you're watching like a glitch video or such, it's
Mhm.
like a capture of the pixel, but the pixel isn't always exactly one pixel. Whereas in GLSL, it always is because it's being executed inside your computer, which gives it sort of that unique GLSL feel, to be honest.
GSL feel.
GLSL, which is the programming language for shaders.
Mm,
It's sort of I think it's a C++ language, based on C++, of course, but it's just the usual functions, usual math functions, so sinusoids, tangents, mapping functions, color
yeah,
functions. No
yeah.
color functions, actually, yeah.
That's what I do in Unreal Engine, just with
I'm pretty
nodes.
pumped that you're getting into that,
And
actually.
it's all C++ actually too. You can
Yeah.
actually open it. You can
Hmm.
do visual scripting in it as well. Some of the kids in my class do. I do not. I do node based.
The last time I did C++, I just wanted to die.
I just wanted to die.
Yes.
I think that
Oh, wow, what?
this music is attached to it. It's the Tetris
Yeah.
theme music, but as though it were at a carnival. Even though it already is, but like
Yeah.
imagine it creepier.
Okay. Like slower? Oh,
Tuned
wow, though.
slightly
I never
jarringly.
see
This is
some videos
really
by John.
I wonder if this is a slow-mo also, because this is a physical screen
Yeah. Yeah.
that
It
they're
looks
doing
like
this
the
to. So I wonder if
crystals
they're like are they like pushing it with their finger to get it to come together?
single use computers.
Huh. That's where all your money goes for Apple and branding and all these other things, but a lot of
Yes.
it goes into the screen.
Wait, really?
It's a the screens are pretty expensive technology. They have a
Okay.
really beautiful color because of
Hmm.
their like crystal tech, which I don't know if they still have patent because I think they like really worked hard to get that patent.
I'm just getting a message from Dina. Oh no, it's a message inviting me to my own talk with you. So I'm already there. But it's in a group chat, so she's probably inviting the other curators and such.
Wonder if
Yes.
I can turn you up because
Yes.
it is, or if I can mute.
Oh yeah, can you be silent like for 2 seconds? I'm just gonna check on the YouTube if the our volumes are more or less up. My own talk with you. So I'm already there. But it's in a group chat, so she's probably inviting the other curators and such.
Wonder if
Well,
I can turn you up.
yeah, we're pretty good. I can turn myself up a tiny bit, maybe. And there we go. Now the volume should be perfect.
Volume should be perfect. Well, I'm just trying to figure out if I can. I'm gonna have to back away from some of the works because they have audio and I can't hear you
Oh, you,
talking.
you can also mute the audio.
How do I do that?
Oh, so on I don't know if you're running Firefox or Chromium.
Mm-hmm.
Usually what I do is at the top of the tab, there's a tiny, yeah, next to the icon.
Mm-hmm.
No, there isn't. Ah, shit. Because I'm doing that on Firefox. Maybe in your sound preferences, you can mute the sound of the fubar thing.
Nope.
No?
Oop. Ah.
Yeah, that's his.
I'll just have to back up. It's okay.
No worries. Types.
I have walked through the gallery a few times now.
Yeah, I got the the old numbers and then the new numbers and then the new map, and I made a few notes here,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I'm hopefully gonna guide you in the right places. There's one artwork that I can still not find, but I think that's because of a spawning point thing, where I think I'm somewhere, but I'm actually somewhere else, and and so the point of view is
What do you
totally,
got? I think I'm
yeah.
somewhere, but I'm somewhere else.
But I
Uh,
have loaded the curator's drive, and if there's something that we can't find, I will just download it from the curator drive.
the one work I could not find, I have ready
Okay, great.
to show. I couldn't find it in the gallery, but I did want to mention it because I really liked it. I mean, I liked a
And
lot of pieces.
and just a parenthesis for Dina, because I see that she's currently writing in the chat. If we can find a work, and we still want to show it outside of the game, we did make sure that it was exhibited
It is in
in
the
the
exhibition.
exhibition, so there's no worry on that.
Yeah, it is. It was on the list. That's how I
Yeah.
knew about it. That's how I found it.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I do also I like to just talk about how the game is made briefly. Pretty sure it's Unity since that's the favicon up there and what it says when it opens. But there's like so definitely it's kind of like old PC horror game vibes with the low poly and the like a lot of lack of collision with not
Is there
double-sided
no? Yeah, there's
normals.
no collisions.
There's some in the gallery
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
No, I love it. I did this like the first time I ever made a game, the first thing I did was make the floor and the ceiling the same like
Mm-hmm.
color or the same like and I did animated textures which you're supposed to do in a specific way in Unreal Engine, but I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, blah blah blah. But it really makes you feel ungrounded.
Mm.
And it looks like they've put like they've just changed animated the whole sky sphere,
You know what it
which
reminds
is
me when you're inside of these places without the inverted normals? Have you ever been into Google Earth, but like the client side Google Earth?
I don't know if I've been to the client side Google Earth. I've
So
been to
yeah, the client
like
side
the
Google Earth
artist
is
one.
pretty funny because you can actually so it's an app that it's a program that you download on your computer, and they have a street view mode. But it's not a street view mode like the street view mode which is on the web. It's a street view mode where you're actually inside a 3D environment and you can move through everything, so there's no collisions or such. And every time that you go inside a tree or inside a forest or inside a building that you shouldn't be in, the normals have the same thing where they're not inverted, so that you realize that you're in the wrong place. And it feels like you're
Oh.
inside of this like really old skeleton, well, contemporary skeleton, I guess. But it has like, yeah, like what you see on the top right now. If you look up, like these thin lines,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what these are.
Mm-hmm.
Are these like edges? And that's the skeleton that you see in Google Earth.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. I think I get what you're saying. What do you, I would like to double back on the phrase contemporary skeleton.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean
Well,
by
it's really
like
funny.
that?
I have a friend, and just a parenthesis. V is saying something interesting in the chat. The fact that, yeah, no, actually I'm not supposed to say that on live, but if you're on the chat of the big blue button and you're not listening to us from the future, then you can check what Vedran said in the chat. But if not, don't. Especially if you work at Google. Uh, So yeah,
Okay,
to go
I'll have
back
to
on
look
this
at
like
that.
contemporary skeletons thing, I have one of my friends, Hortense Boulet, and she did her thesis on lost spaces, on the fact that some spaces on the internet have been abandoned, and they have been sort of become like ghost towns. So, for example, to give you a concrete example, some Minecraft servers which have been like completely griefed, where there's like only 5 players, where there used to be like thousands of players. But also companies like she doesn't limit spaces to the concept of 3D spaces, but also to web spaces. So she also talks a lot about like sky blogs. I don't know if you had that in the US, but these sort of like teen blogs where we used to post
Hmm.
our life when we were from like 11 to 15.
I
And
mean,
it's
we might have a
funny,
different name for it, but we
yeah.
absolutely have those things. Forums.
And what I mean by contemporary skeletons is, for example, in these old blogs we used to have when we were teenagers, is that a lot of the images have been taken out. And they've been taken out because the server can't afford the money to host these
Or, I
images
mean,
no longer.
link rot is a big
Yeah,
thing too.
exactly. And so by contemporary skeletons, what I mean is basically the frame of these pictures is still there, but the content is gone.
I want to read this thesis. It
Yeah,
might help me with my thesis.
it's all in French though, but I haven't read it yet, but it is pretty amazing.
I will Google Translate and do my best to, to understand.
Oops.
Okay,
Where am
okay,
I?
that's 4. I'm just walking around. I will admit, I was really close when I first went to this one, and I was like, oh
Hmm.
shit. Which was fun.
Oh, because of the look of the.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Staring at me right
Yes.
in my eyes. Yeah, this one's all over
Oh, that's the entrance
bubbles
of
and
Minicamp.
stuff. Yeah, look at
Sweet.
that. The staircase. This is where you could get your punk haircut.
Okay, we're gonna be able to start in just about 2 minutes and a half.
Okay, I'm
Um,
just walking up to things.
and apparently, the glitch art is that gallery, one side of it does not turn on. Um, but if we check in the map right here,
You mean fubar?
I mean there's the glitch art is dead gallery inside Fubar.
Oh,
Yes.
I was so con I was like,
What are you
Casper,
talking about? This
you
was
know
2 months ago.
do you know where you are? You thought you were one place, but you're in another.
Okay, starting in 2 minutes.
I know where the Mountain of Madness is now, so that's nice.
Nice.
I
Oh,
don't know if
sweet.
that is a reference to that one movie, which is it called The Mountain of Madness? The hippie guy?
I have not seen that.
Me neither. I've only seen clips. I actually don't know if you can even. Oh my gosh, let me
Did you find the Sabato collaboration, by the way?
in here. I know where the animal one is,
Oh yeah, great.
and I think
The
here we
animal
are.
that therefore I am three
In
on
this,
three.
and these are here.
Yeah, that's a glitch on that one, I think. Look, the one where you were looking at, because
Yes,
so this one is Sabato and Skies, and on the
yes.
right side is supposed to be something else, but it still
Oh,
is because if you point at it, it says
yeah, it
Patrick
says
Lit.
something else. That
Yeah,
happened with a couple. I mean, I think that's to be
easy tiny
expected with
glitch.
such
Yeah,
a large
of course.
show. And with so many videos too. Like I remember when I first came into this gallery, uh, when they made it the first time, and I was like, "How are y'all getting so many videos in here? Because
Yes.
that's a lot." Oh, ran away from that.
Yeah, I
I,
stumbled upon it half an hour ago. I saw your piece.
I'm not. It was sweet. I was like, "Oh, that's me. Oh, that's me." That's me.
So V is saying there are many Sabato collaborations,
There are many Sabato
all
collaborations in this
amazing
show.
ones, heart, and of course, yes. Please, y'all report bugs. Yes, the bugs are streamed. I'm sorry to point them out like that. I'll point them out through email next time. Um,
But I think you can still go through the show.
so I guess we can start.
Okay.
Um, well, I guess just to present ourselves real quickly, I'm Caspar Ravel. I'm a French and critical new media artist and curator from time to time. I used to create for the Glitch Artist Collective, which I don't do anymore. I had a lot of fun doing that, and that's also what started me as an artist, and also led me, introduced me to Fubar, which is to this date the longest running glitch festival ever, run
Hmm.
by Dina Karadzic and Vedran Gligo.
I
And
believe they started in 2015.
oh wow,
Yeah.
I know. And we used to attend actually Fubar until COVID happened, until also the earthquake happened and destroyed part of the Aketse Medica, the place in which the exhibition used to happen. And since then, Dina and Vidran had set up a digital space inside Unity, which is the video game that we're currently inside of. Um, and yeah, that's about it for me. I'm a curator this year at Fubar. I'm mostly not exactly curating, but doing a curator selection, which I'm doing with B.
Howdy, I'm B Nix. I also was curating and kind of adminning for Glitch Artist Collective. I've been doing that. I kind of just stepped back and it will have just been about 7 years almost.
Holy wow.
So yeah, that's kind of a lot. Done a lot with Casper. I'm a art. I consider myself an art-based researcher and curator, mostly doing glitch animation. I guess new media because I also do game development. Um, yeah, I was. Did you want to talk a little bit about what glitch means to you personally before we start? Because I know that that's how you got into glitch, and that's why you're here.
Yeah.
But what? Yeah, what is glitch art to you personally?
Mm, I thought about how to answer this question every time. It's of course a different answer, but I'll make it simple in the sense that what glitch means to me today is glitch is a moment for me. Glitch is a moment that happens in time within a specific system. And what's really interesting about it is that it's sort of the glitch deviates my reading of any system. So this system could be an image, this system could be a computer, it could be a VR experience. And the glitch is that moment in that system which will draw my attention to that system. In a sense that suddenly I'm not paying attention to the content of the image, but I'm paying attention to what contains the image. And this gives me some sort of it acquires me some sort of digital literacy because as soon as the system glitches, at first I can just experience the glitch, and then as I see more and more things glitch, I can realize that they're broken, that maybe they need fixing, or maybe they don't need fixing, maybe they're interesting in their own broken way, and gives me some sort of knowledge of how this machine works. And so glitch to me has been both this access to making experimental abstract art, and also key to understanding the systems that surround us.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it simple. I
Yeah.
think, I mean, I feel like we relate to glitch in very similar ways, but have like very fundamental, just like kind of differences, especially of just what we focus on, which maybe is a difference between like how you're more of a programmer than I am, or I don't know,
Yeah.
whichever. But for myself personally, like glitch art will always be, well, glitch art specifically, I guess I'm talking about, will always be like an external expression of the internal, or rather a personification of technological behaviors, which, at least in regards to glitch art, comes with like that acceptance that there will be some friction against notions of how things are supposed to function in the pursuit of experimentation. And glitch art and the concepts of identity and self-image have always been intrinsically connected for
Mm-hmm.
me, which says a lot about my relationship with technology and how that influences the relationship I have with myself and others. And such influences generally, distinguish generations from one another. Certainly, glitch artists today relate to glitch and glitch art a lot differently
Yeah.
than they used to. Like, there's technological, distinctly like different reactions and experiences and relationships that they have, especially for those who are like just before social media. Like, we can put
Mm-hmm.
it even more immediate rather than thinking of like trying to like old people. Like, let's just think like a decade or two before us and
And
how like distinct those differences are.
it's also funny that you talk about these sort of technological generations in a sense, because I think that's like one of the main aspects of glitch art also today, is that these glitches that every generation lived sort of played a key role into shaping the aesthetics of each of these generations. And today, as we live in a world which is not only transmedia in the way that we say it is, but also in the way that we live it, in the way that not only we pile these new technologies, but also recycle these old technologies, there's this sort of like constant clash going on between all of these visual aesthetics that have been employed, re-employed, but also acquired through heritage. And that's sort of what we're
Hmm.
going to see today. It's this sort of heritage of all of these generations of glitches.
And if I actually can start talking about the like just staying with the idea of like
Mm.
different generations and stuff, and simply just like how glitch art can mean something different with each variation within the relationship one has with the technology. I'd like to comment on the fact that, like you say, like we're always kind of at a brink too, but there are some like distinct moments of pushing, and I do think that we are at like a pretty large shift in glitch art right now that I wouldn't like dare try to say what it is, because like social media, we know that shift, we saw it, we
Mm-hmm.
experienced it. It's a little bit more in the past, but there's something a little different now, and I think like there's this like new raw relationship that people seem to be forming with
Yeah.
glitch art, and I think to use the glitch art fam from Iran
Mm-hmm.
is a really a beautiful example of this. I think, is it in this room? Let me here, and it's
Loaded
on
so
the
many
right.
ways.
Yeah, I'm just what? I think
Yes,
this
that
is
is
the
it.
one. Yes. Okay. This is Muhammad Ali's Femoris, and it'll take a moment to um, load. Let me see. I know that it will, or I'll just pull it up.
Okay, but yeah, they posted as a group in fubar as well, or at least they did a lot of individual applications, but they all come from the same collective. Is that right?
I think so, as they operated platform on there. Muhammad Ali Femori, I'm sharing because they actually wrote the Glitch Manifesto of Iran and was
Okay.
like a leader in curating and putting together the first glitch show that was ever held in Iran, which also, if I may, that show was held in Tehran. And I would like to just give a moment of love to our glitch fam in Iran. And we stand with you. Um, yeah. But I'd like, if I could also, waiting for this thing to load. That's not who I think it is. Here we go. A little bit.
That's sweet. Oh yes, I remember that one.
I
Where
really
did I
like this
do?
one too. This is the one where the lines kind of flicker. It is a longer video, so it's probably just taking a minute to load.
Yeah,
But
do you want me to look it up?
sure,
What's the name of it again?
I can. Muhammad Ali
So while B's
Famori
looking for the
dance
works,
with
I just want to say that so for the people who just tuned in, we're currently inside of the fubar video game, and we're gonna basically go through a few of the works that we've selected to talk about them. The game is a little bit glitchy as well, so some of the works might not load, and if they don't, normally we'll just pull them out to watch them together. If not, I might have it inside the fubar drive, which I just closed for some reason.
That's okay. I get to like kind of walk in and kind of do it. It's also super bright. There we go. You can see it a little bit. Mostly it's like lines kind of blooming out. The contrast is really heavy with this one, but we can move on with some other ones. But I would like to read an excerpt of that first show in Iran
Yeah.
from the description of Pixel Language show, because we also kind of touch base on
Mm.
pixels, and also just to put in perspective too, this was just 3 years ago that
Yeah.
the first show in Iran ever happened. Um, but an excerpt from the show Pixel Language. The ambiguity formed in the glitch language pursues two functions. On one hand, it makes the pixel the smallest component of the digital image that carries a new form of its independent identity. On the other hand, it allows the audience to look into the distorted and damaged images and participate in the aesthetic effects with their own interpretations.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it, which is really cool. Like, it's stuff we're
Hmm.
talking about, but especially like it's not like we know everybody, but we've been in this for several years, and it's just wonderful to get to experience something new
Hmm.
blossom. And yet, even though it's on the same perhaps frequency, funny dance with frequencies, as like what we're doing, but it very much has its own tone. And it's just it's really I don't know exactly what it is to say what happening in this shift, but I think looking at Iran right now is a good example.
Definitely. I've managed to pull up the video. Of course, you can't see it because it's not inside the Google Meets, but the people watching us can see the video.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, there we
That's
go.
fine. Awesome. Did you want to go to
Yeah,
somebody?
I do have a piece I'd love to go to, which is a piece by Tavisha, which is an Indian artist, which had actually a really nice story as well. I think you'll have to press number two to get in there. Yep, there you go. And it's the last left. So if you go straight on into that corridor and you take on the last left, and it's the just in there, there you go, on the left side. And at the end of that left side, there we go. Should be the piece Tavisha. And the piece is called Heartbreak. It's a pretty
Oh,
small piece. And actually, it might not be really obvious from this point of view, but if you go a tiny bit closer, yeah, you can actually see some numbers in each of the squares. And if
hmm.
you look on the left and on the top, I don't know if you can remember what in if does that remind you of a kind of interface that you know? But that's actually
Spreadsheet.
exactly.
Okay. Also, it has the sound of a beating heart too
Oh,
while you're
yes.
watching it, and it is
Yeah.
animated. I don't know if you
Yeah.
have the ability to show that one
Um,
too, but
yeah,
it's okay.
I'll go look for it. Where did I close the thing again? And I'll explain a little bit afterwards how it works, or at least how I suspect it works, because I have a few friends which actually have done this sort of form of art inside Excel, and though it's not what some people would call, damn it, I can't find it in.
It's okay. It mostly just changes like the colors and makes it look like the heart is beating.
Yeah, exactly. So,
But
and
so
what
they glitched this in Excel.
So it's not really like what people would say. This is a glitch as per se in the community. It's closer to what we call generative art. Of course, we're more inclusive with what glitch art means. But I just wanted to emphasize the fact that this is a form of generative art. But where I find it interesting is that it's a form of tactical generative art. And by tactical, I mean that the person who did this used a medium which was not at all designed to make digital art at first, and decided to use the wrong tool to do the wrong job, basically. And so I've seen actually a few people. I had a meeting last week with one of the person who helped us organize Blue X80 from Random Pixel Order, and she reminded me of one of the VJ sets that she did like 5 or 6 years ago, which was a VJ set inside of Excel. And what she did basically was that these
To
squares.
decide that, to
Yes.
decide like I'm gonna do a VJ set inside of Excel. That's like me and like PowerPoints or whatever. Like, you know what? But that even makes more sense. Excel's just like, nah, I'm just gonna use
Yes.
this.
And so it's basically just functions in each of these squares that result in a nuance of gray. And so probably what we're seeing, these numbers 0.8, 0.5, these are numbers that go from 0 to 1, which represent a shade of gray. And so unfortunately we can't see it very well right here. Oh, actually, we did see the heartbeat a tiny bit. There we go. And basically the heart is beating, which I saw that a few days ago and I was like, oh my god, somebody did that. People still do that because not a lot of people do that. So I was very happy that this work was included in fubar. So that's work by Tavisha. They also did another work which is not inside the fubar, so I won't talk about it too much. But it's also work done with Excel, and I don't know if they have an Instagram. If you can click on their picture or such. Um, Somewhere we can see
I
the
don't
rest?
know if they
No.
gave a link. They did not
Yeah.
give a link.
But yeah, so that person. Oh, by the way, Veteran says we can hit F to reload if ever there's a problem.
Okay.
Um, there's also a whole DAO.
Nice.
Yes. Do you want to go to another work or do you want me to guide you to another work?
You can go to another work.
You know what? I really thought this was gonna be like hard to do as a conference. I told the people who are around me that this was gonna look more like an escape game than it would like a conference, because we basically have this map. So B can't see it right now, but this is the map where all of the artworks are, and I thought it'd be harder to find the artworks, but we managed to make a good job finding them in advance. I don't know if
It
you
is. I think
saw as
it's
well
fine.
how the six looks like a tiny dog, which is kind of cute. So the next artwork I want to see is inside of oh, it's in the same place actually. So
Is
it's
it?
still yeah, it's over
Oh,
there.
I
So
think
you
I
have to,
know. Oh, it's over here?
yeah, it's
This one?
Lisa Cianci's artwork. It's the
Who?
pink one, Lisa
Oh yeah,
Cianci.
I think that's this way.
Yeah, and I think it's on the right at
Let me
some
take
point.
you let me take you there.
Sweet.
I've been around. Or maybe not.
I think
Empty
if ever you
flash.
just like re-flash in, then maybe I can show you where it is from the start.
Remember it was it's in level 2?
It's on the same floor as Tavisha's, and I wrote down that it was the second left end of the room. So it should be there we go. In here? No, not in here.
No, I think that theirs is here.
Oh, you're right, you're right. Second left here, and
Yep.
it's loaded as well.
I
There we
win.
go. So this is
Okay, I
work
just
by
uploaded it. Sorry, reloading it.
it's work by Lisa Cianci, which is an Australian artist which works both in analog, digital, and also kind of unique type of artifacts that you can see in video art. And which is also the reason why I brought this up here, is that it sort of looks a little bit like what we used to see in terms of like displacement art in the
Hmm.
Glitch Artist Collective, but it's also rich of a lot of other different textures. And one of the things that I really wanted to say is, of course, a little bit personal, but I wanted to draw this back to the history of television in France. Is we used to have Channel 4, which was called Canal Plus at the time, and this channel was a private channel, which meant that you could actually you could tune into it, but what you would see would be crypted, in a sense that at the time they didn't have the technology to put passwords on channels that you would type with your remote control, but the actual content would be crypted. And so if you wanted to have access to the channel, you would have to buy what's called a channel 4 decoder, and that decoder you had to plug between your TV and your TV cable, and this would actually decode the channel 4 for you. And when I saw this artwork for the first time, this really reminded me of these endless nights that I spent watching the cryptid Channel 4, because we didn't have Channel 4 in my family. I mean, we had Channel 4, but we had it cryptid. And
We didn't have Channel 4 in my family. We didn't have Channel.
exactly. And though this is a personal experience where I want to put the wagons back together, is I feel that glitch often plays a big role in the realms of nostalgia. These symbolic uses of glitches really have this sort of very effective nostalgic power towards the people who lived throughout all of these generations. And so this affected me in this way, just as any kind of analog glitches, for instance, will affect nostalgically people born in the 80s or such.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as we were saying, like every generation has their glitches, and every generation has their nostalgia.
Well, even on that too, I think because there's a lot of younger glitch artists who use perhaps nostalgic aesthetics, but it means
Mm.
something different to them because they see it. I like it. They're not a part of the feeling of nostalgia,
Mm-hmm.
but they see the effect that it has,
Yeah.
or they experience the feeling, like not secondhand because that sounds like whatever, but it's not like a firsthand experience of having it in
Mm.
the moment and context of time. Um, but that's a weird thing. It's not necessarily a borrowed aesthetic. It means something. Like
Mm-hmm.
how aesthetics just transform. They no longer, yes, it still has the same nostalgia for us, but not only it does it transform, it also isn't, mutually exclusive.
Completely. Yeah, I wouldn't even say like, yeah, it's not a secondhand nostalgia, but it's sort of this echo. It's got an echo nature. We were talking a little bit about echoes last time we saw each other, and they're not like stolen, but they're borrowed in the sense that this echo you live it, not intensely different, but with a different intensity. Not that doesn't make sense. No,
Yeah,
not with
I
the.
follow.
It's not a level of intensity. It's just a way of living that intensity when you're being displayed in front of this medium. For in this instance, I used to be very nostalgic of Woodstock. Yet I have never been in Woodstock, but seeing all of these videos being put
Hmm.
on YouTube or shown these videos by my family made me nostalgic of this era. And I think Glitch has a lot of that. And V has a tiny thing to say about Channel 4 in France, which I also wanted to say, but I thought it would be too much. But you remember Bastien Lavaux from the Glitch Artists Collective?
Hmm. Of
Holographic thought
course.
process. He actually I don't know what exactly he did with the decoder box. I'm just gonna read V's message. But V says that Bastien Lavaux based one of his glitched box on the encoder decoder for the elusive French channel, which
That's
is
so
so sweet. Yeah,
that is so cute.
I
And
love
that
the.
uh even means something at the same point in time because
Mm,
you're a child and somebody else is an adult. So the relation, like, I don't always like the expression to each their own because usually it's like an excuse for something. But in this way, absolutely to each their own because everybody's interpretation, relationship, experiences, they're all going to be nuanced and different.
mm.
Did we want to go here? Did you want to go to another
Oh,
place
you have
before
the
this one?
animal. I'm down for the animal that therefore I am.
Okay, I can't. Person doesn't talk, or at least you won't be able to hear the cat talking.
Okay. Can you mime the cat talking?
Can I mime the cat talking?
It's okay. You don't have to.
No.
We can ask Sabato. Sabato's in the chat. Maybe he can do it for us. And
Which is, um, did you write anything on this or
I did not write anything on that piece
oops?
in particular.
I I have some this is a collaboration done with what is this? Rudolph Liggins. You can see it right here, Alison Tenaha. So it's also out there in Massachusetts where Sabato is, King Green and Andre. Sorry, I don't want to ruin your name. I I wonder if they like made this piece separate or if they made it for this show, which the show
Mm.
exhibition, if anybody is unaware, is about identity. Um, and they do this cat here does quote like a little bit from this piece by Derrida, which is titled as they titled it, "The Animal That Therefore I Am." And the quote that this cat takes and gives to us is Derrida saying, "Before the cat that looks at me naked, would I be ashamed like an animal that no longer has the sense of nudity? Or, on the contrary, like a man who retains the sense of his nudity? Who am I, therefore? Who is it that I am? Whom should this be asked of, if not the other, and perhaps of the cat itself?" Which I haven't read this complete text,
Mm-hmm.
though I understand that this piece that they're talking about does not only discuss perceived boundaries between humans and animals, but also revolves around the notions of what it is to be a being who perceives and is perceived.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Primarily, this text is a like blatant and warranted attack on the philosophies of others who try to define aspects of what it is to be human by using animal existence almost as, but not quite, like the antithesis of human existence, or at least like an opposite, right?
Yeah.
It's the sort of binary structuralist thinking I personally disdain, wherein a thing is thought to be best understood by comparing it to its opposites. Um, and this text really highlights all the assumptions that are made in posing animals as here. I'll just also keep this video running, even though it's hard
Yeah.
with the cat. But it also highlights a lot of the assumptions that are made simply in posing animals as the opposites of humans,
Mm-hmm.
and how it is a disgusting oversight to ignore all the ethics humans have learned and continue to learn from directly interacting with animals. And how does this relate to the show and the concept of identity? Well, not only should maybe you not think of yourself so different from animals, though I dare say you should not think of yourself, as an animal as an excuse to bear responsibilities. But that's just a pet peeve of mine.
Mm.
Um, but if you have, the habit of defining yourself and your identity, as well as perceiving others and their identities through oppositional comparisons, well, there's a lot of issues with that that you may want to consider.
Sorry, I just love hearing you talk like that. But
Yep.
I'm not at all familiar with Derrida. Um, but that sounds like a
I
really interesting
I
concept. I've seen
I
cat
recommend
videos, but that's
Derrida
it.
ideas. I don't necessarily recommend reading their works.
Okay.
Sorry.
Mm.
Sorry, what were you saying? I didn't mean to.
No, I was just saying I have not seen Derrida, but I have seen a lot of cat videos. That would help me to understand this work. But
So,
but yeah, there's definitely some reference to net culture as well, and we all know that net culture started with cat videos, and so taking this uh, image of the cat recontextualizing older images that include cats is of course something that really sparks interest. I couldn't go on a rant like B right now and talk interestingly of this. I'm actually so like uh, embarrassed that I'm starting to have a tiny bit of urticaria. That's fine. Yeah, we
do you want to
can.
jump to another Sabata
Yeah,
work? I'm trying to
would
get through this. This cat. They have a lot of funny cat
oh
photos in this
sweet,
thing.
I love it. Yeah, the at the French Institute, and by French Institute I mean the virtual French Institute. There is a tiny work I'd like to show.
Okay, where am I
Um,
going?
just smash the keyboard with any number, and I'll tell you if it's the right one. So not that one. Not that one. I think it will be number three. Yes, it does look like number three.
Oh,
So this is the French Institute. It's not the French Institute in France. It's the French Institute in Zagreb, which I think is also hosting some things of fubar, but yet I'm not
You mean
100%
to say the
sure.
structure is the French
Yeah,
Institute? I
exactly.
wasn't sure what this one was. I did go outside and said, "Okay, I am somewhere," and then I went back inside and I said, "Don't know where." It's like,
And the work that I like to see, I think this whole building is dedicated to some sort of asemic writings and text also. So there's also a text by Michael Betancourt at the top. But
mhm.
the one I'd like to see is on the right side of the staircase. And
This
yeah,
one?
exactly, the one that greets us. And this is basically a work by Pada and Deely. They're both from the UK, and the work is entitled "You Kind of Remind Me of the Warmth of a Seat."
That's just been left.
This just been
Yeah.
left. Oh shit! Yes, sorry. I'm not reading it from the video game. I'm reading it from my Google Doc, and my Google Doc is apparently terrible. So this really stroked me at first, and I've chosen pieces that really strike me in terms of artifacts that I'm not used to seeing, because that's my glitch kink, I guess. Um,
It's not a
this
kink. It's a
not a kink.
kink.
This one is pretty interesting because it looks like it has this like really analogy vibe, but it's actually so it is a film screened, a film screen, but the screen has been reprocessed afterwards by an AI. So what happens is they have text running on the screen. So the
Real quick,
text
when you say film screen, do you mean like television screen or do you mean like a computer screen, like an LED screen?
it's a computer screen, and I think it was filmed with an average camera, average
Okay.
digital camera, if I'm not mistaken. And so the screen basically just has text on it. So here it just had loads of zeros and a one at the end, and afterwards it has more different text. Maybe it's just loading slowly. And what happened is, so they filmed that, and while they were filming it, they put their hands on between the camera and the screen. So their hands were occupying the space and making it as hard for us to be able to read what was being written, exactly like what B is doing right now. And so they filmed this with the hands, and then they used a neural network which is specialized in taking humans out of pictures. So it's like if you had a picture with a countryside view and a lot of humans inside of it, and you put it through this AI. This AI would strip out the humans and try to reinvent the landscape behind them.
I love this so much.
Yes, I knew you would love it. And so type is really difficult to reconstruct for an AI because I don't know exactly how these convolutional neural networks work, but I know that I struggle a lot with them. And so if this is a homemade AI, I say, congratulations, you did a great work. But also, we're not here for the AIs to do great work. We're here for the AIs to glitch. And that's also one of the interesting aspects that I find with the use of AI in art is that I feel that as for popular demand, AI is often used for either reproduction, either doing in the style of. And I feel that often these ways of doing with AI are sort of enclosed creatively because they all work on like some sort of like neural pastiche in a sense, and it's never reinventing, it's never being critical of the medium. Whereas when you take an AI and you're like, okay, how do you think I could um, work this AI around, try to misuse it in a certain way? And here, this AI, for instance, is not used to rebuild the text exactly because that's not the purpose of the work. The AI is used to discover some new artifacts. And I just wanted to make a parenthesis on the fact that though the world of AI art is very linear and very focused on what I was saying, like in representation and doing in the style of, there's actually a bunch of artists and a bunch of researchers and even scientifics which are actually working on principles of AI which I was going to say diverge, but that's the whole point of it. They call it active divergence. And by active divergence is that an AI usually, when an AI learns, it wants to converge. It wants the loss function to go to zero so that it does a good reproduction. And what
Hmm.
these a lot of artists and a lot of searchers are working on is this sort of active divergence, which is basically knowing that we're diverging, but choosing where we're going to diverge to. And there's one scientist in particular, which is called Axel Schimla, which is a friend of mine, which works at the IRCAM in France. And he's actually publishing a paper right now on this. And he did a concept with the NIST database, which is a database of handwritten digits. And
Hmm.
basically, he made this very simple AI that you give it this database of images, these numbers one by one, and in exchange it spits you out exactly the same images. And what he did is, with the principle of active divergence, made sure that the AI would not spit us the numbers that we give it, but spit out numbers that sort of are both very far from each number individually, but still close to the group of numbers, which means that they're not noise because they're close to the group of numbers, but they're far away as possible from being an individual number in themselves. And so it's this thing of asking an AI to find a shape, but not asking
Find a
it
shape.
for a specific shape. Saying, be as far as possible of the shapes that I have given you, but be a shape. Do not be just noise. And that's the principle of active divergence, which I find really interesting. So if ever you want to look it up, just Google
I would
that.
definitely,
Yeah,
I wrote it
I know.
down.
I
I
saw you
definitely want to
writing
look
it
that
down.
up. And there, that's the kind of thinking that, I mean, led to glitch art. That's the kind of thinking that also it's hard for me not as like a non-neurotypical person to not be like, oh, so like AIs are like your neurotypical people, and then you got these other guys who are just like the not guys who are just like, I found a shape, but it wasn't the one you asked for, kind of thing. Um, but
Yeah.
I like, of course, I personify technology, so of course I do that. But even it's, I think it's really hard, especially when you're talking about AI, to not personify the technology. And
Yeah.
there is, that's like a whole ethical thing
Mm.
we're kind of trying to figure out too. Like, machine is human, no, but how much we give it a lot of life and we let it make a lot of decisions for us. So, what's the balance here?
And something also very haunting, which something very haunting about AI and reproduction and doing in the style of is I don't know if any of you are familiar with Mark Fisher's work. I know Sabato that you are. And the concept, I think it's a concept of Derrida as well, the hauntology, but the fact of being haunted by the ghosts of the past. And by ghosts of the past, he means mainly because he's a music critic, Mark Fisher. He means the artifacts of the audio artifacts of the past. And so by audio artifacts, he means the sound of vinyl, the qualities of guitars in the 80s, and
Hmm.
his whole book, Ghost of My Life, is about how music has lost its sense of newness, how it's often just recycling itself. That if you put something, how do you say, that if in the year 800 you made people listen to punk, they would go blimmin' crazy. But
Well,
if
yeah.
you, yeah, of course, of course. But if you go in the 90s, or if you go in the 80s and you make people listen to a really good example is Valerie by the Zootons. Um, it sounds so old. The people would not be shocked at all. They'd be like, "Is that the music of the future?" And it asks the question of, are the artifacts exhausted, or are we designing systems of reproduction? And that's a haunting
I think
thought.
it can be both. And also the
Hmm.
idea of, like, yes, pose the question of, has music lost its newness? But I'm always more like, so what if it does? And also, what are you defining newness as? And why are we so obsessed with it? Uh, but
Yeah,
that's just me.
I know.
Um, I think that's a good segue, especially with the idea of ghostly, not necessarily this piece here, but Michael Betancourt's Scene and Counting.
Hmm.
I just wanted to come up here since I'm in this space, in this room, and comment on, I think it's really neat to have Nicholas here. All these texts I think are available too, is also if you just hop in here, you can click it and the text will come up. Because Nicholas is from Germany, and
Oh yeah.
I know that this piece is based on a lot of Hito Styles' work and also a bit on Michael Betancourt's. So I think it's pretty cool that their pieces are showing next to each other when I'm quite certain that Nicholas just finished that like this year or last year. Um, but that's nice. Okay. I would talk about these, but I did not have time to properly read them, so I would rather not
Yeah, no
mess
worries.
them up. I'm going to talk about a piece, which I think is here. Especially, I think
Oh wait, there's a tiny glitch we can't hear anymore.
you can't,
Yeah,
can
I
you hear
can hear
me?
you now. We
Okay.
good.
This one has like some ghostly sounds, little like theremin stuff, just to try to put you in the atmosphere. But especially like we're talking about old tech and ghostly forms and stuff, I think
Mm.
that this piece really works with that. Betancourt, is a glitch art pioneer. They've been um, creating glitch art since the 1980s and getting it refused from galleries for being broken since then. Um, this piece here, Scene Counting, actually utilizes a program that he wrote in 1981 called Low Res Animator.
Mhm.
He made that on an Apple computer. And using that program and the animations with it, along with analog, electronic video synthesis, feedback, optical light patterns, and employing glitch techniques such as data moshing and data bending, you get these ghostly, like Lillian Schwartz meets light painting type feels. Um, and we were talking about that. It's especially in this piece, you can see and also feel, like I can feel the artifacts, the juxtaposition of
Yeah.
old and new techniques and old and new technologies and going in and out of analog to digital. I think a lot of times, especially as we are discussing things, art just tends to be really high-minded, but there's still that visceral feeling. We're talking about these artifacts not just in a philosophical way. These artifacts have like uh direct influence on our emotions, direct influence on our thoughts. They place us in a point in time. So I just really want to emphasize these aren't just ideas. These affect us in real life, and of course in our digital life, if you want to think about it that way.
Yeah, I don't think I also wanted to talk about Michael Betancourt, but I don't think his Insta glitches have been in the show. Let me just double
I
check
don't
that
think
real
that
quick.
they were, but because I know that you brought up tactical media earlier.
Yeah, let me just check that real quick. Exhibition new link to all the pieces in the show. There we go. My compatible discursive transcendence and um,
This one.
scene counting. No, these are the only two. Okay, so never mind. Well, I think I've gone more around. Oops, sorry. Oops. I think I've gone more or less around all the pieces that I want to show that fit in sort of this narrative style that we've had. I don't know if you had more pieces that you wanted to show, or if
I
we.
had one, but bring it. I couldn't find it in the gallery, but I do have them here
Okay.
that I
Oh
can
yes.
just slide over because I really like these pieces. Let me try to minimize them a little so I can have all three. Pardon me, I know it's excruciating watching
Hmm.
somebody have to do that. There we go. Um, these are Igor, would it be Lukic?
Okay.
And I there's something that feels really digital about them, but also analog. And I only mean that to kind of represent like the feelings that I
Mm.
get from them, not necessarily a judgment or anything or critique on technique. Which makes sense because these are analog photos that they just like pixel shifted, and obviously it looks like they drew upon them as well with the geometric forms. I have two of the same ones here. Okay. That's fine. I'll
Yeah.
just make these bigger.
Are
It
they
is a
the
set of three.
yeah? Are they the portraits of ordinary people on photographic film and scanned them, manipulated the pixels to get the final result? Should look like landscapes. Yep.
Yep.
The inspiration came from the line from the Bible, Genesis 3:19, "For dust you are, and to dust you will return." Genesis 3:19, Genesis 3, Genesis. That's a lot of Genesis. So in the
Genesis,
case of my
Genesis,
work, every
Genesis.
pixel is a dust particle. Okay.
Yeah, full circle.
I think what struck me on this is the quality of the grain. You know, earlier I was talking about the grain of GLSL, and when I see this, it really feels like, well,
It feels
saying
print.
like a pixel is a dust particle may make sense to me in the sense because a pixel in this case is a pixel, uh, in a sense,
And
but
a dust
and
particle.
a dust particle. But usually a pixel is not a pixel. When you see a video, it's usually rescaled. It's usually not the same format. When I see this, it has this grain which is so grainy that I feel that it's 1-to-1 in size, which is one of the aspects that makes it really beautiful, especially even technique wise. I mean, using pixel sorting on something like this makes it amazing. But yeah.
Which also, pixel sorting used to be, when I first hopped on Facebook, pixel sorting was everyone's jam. They were like trying to just do it creatively and figure out different uses for it. And then, of course, it got like overused, over recycled, and people were just pixel sorting literally every image. Um, so when I see it done in a way and you look at it and you're like, what? How did they do it? And you realize you're like, ah, that's nice.
I was looking for the "oh my god" pixel sorting meme, but I can't find it. There's just this girl that usually says "oh my god" and then something else, but here it's "oh my god" pixel sorting, and the girl is completely pixel sorted. It's amazing. I love this meme. If
This one,
anybody
I
has it,
also I liked this piece because it stood out because, like I said, I personify a lot of stuff. But interestingly enough, even though all of my works have like a humanoid in them, I usually am drawn to pieces that don't have humans in
yeah.
them, but have like the emotion of it. Like I want the human there, but not at the same time. Uh, so having a landscape pixel
Mm.
sort was nice, and also going through the show, it's a lot of selfies. And I've talked about this before, not here, but elsewhere, of just that's definitely something that seems to be a pattern of glitch as a form of authentication.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea that most people within the past 5 years, maybe more, generally their first introduction to glitch, except for being in the wild, perhaps, like when they make their first piece of glitch art,
Yeah.
like I want to say, I want to be like 8 out of 10 times it's going to be a selfie, which is just, I find that's just so fascinating that like people, again, you talk about like people back in the day, how they would relate to this. It was like people right now, they like see it and they're like, oh, either it's just a cool aesthetic or it's a filter because we're so used to putting filters on ourselves. But just like the quick thing of
Mm.
connecting yourself with glitch, like I think that there's a really deep personal connection that just happens flippantly, but no less happens, which I find really fascinating, and I think it says a lot about the our current times.
Yeah, the first times I realized the social impact of glitch art is I can't remember who it was, but they were on the group Glitch Request, which is a group on Facebook which belongs to the Glitch Artist Collective, where people can ask their pictures to be glitched, and mostly it's just
Hmm.
people posting their faces, their selfies, or their exes, or people they don't like, to glitch them,
Hmm. Or their
and
pets.
yes, and on
We had
Glitch
a there
Request
there needed you needed to make a whole group
for glitch
just
pets,
for all of the glitch requests.
yes, and the first time I realized the social impact of glitch was somebody, I can't remember who told me that, but on Glitch Request were like, people come here also for therapy. People
Hmm.
wanna glitch the good memories and the bad memories for different reasons, of course, but they want to transform them. They want them to be glitched, and also themselves. But yeah. Anyways, not
There's
gonna go on a big
something
rant about this, but it
well,
was.
there's something too when you have a bunch of separate items,
Hmm.
but then you're compiling them together,
Yeah.
and then they're just still edited separate items. But by glitching it, you actually are breaking apart their pieces and putting them back together.
Hmm.
Which is I isn't just something like I think a lot of the things we do on digital levels we try to compartmentalize, but they deeply again affect us, and especially you're talking about this therapy things. Yeah, I definitely see a lot of people using glitch as therapy, and sometimes you're like, I don't know if it's good therapy, but you're doing it, and you're here, and we're happy to have you.
So, how do you see Glitcher today, and what occupies your thoughts in regards to Glitch, or maybe even media at large? How do you see this scene has evolved since you first joined, and also left the Glitch Artist Collective, because you told me last week that you were dropping down on your curating functions over there. I don't want to make this a personal question, of course, but how do you see the scene today?
um I mean, it's hard to not be like biased in it, like just with my own. And I don't even bias in like a judgmental way of just
Hmm.
like trying to get out of all the experience I already have to see it on a new slate because I think it is really transitioning.
Yeah.
Um, and it's coming. I'm also stepping back because like not only have I done it a long time, but I also noticed I think that there's a friction with how I see glitch sometimes being and how other people are evolving it today. And in recognizing that felt like, yes, I think that still history is important and I like to keep that up. And I think having a point of view and your own taste and stuff, that's all great. But like glitch pushes boundaries. It's meant to evolve, and if if I'm not if I'm not able to evolve with it, I think other people should step forward and do that, and they have. Um, I don't I don't know exactly where it's going. I think it's actually going to maybe become more self-reflective again because I
Yeah.
feel for a while it's been very in the style of and very aesthetic. And I don't mean everybody. I just mean to say of like if you take all of the posts online and kind of and look at them in that way, which of course, I mean that's art. Like that's just an issue of digital art online, or I wouldn't even say necessarily an issue. It's just a factor of. Um, I think it'll become more uh less recycling.
Hmm.
I think that there's a shift that's going to happen. I'm not sure. I think it's already kind of happening, but there is another raw element that is currently being formed or currently being exhibited that I'm excited for. I wish I had more to say on that, but I don't. I feel like I'm witnessing it
Hmm.
happening in real time.
Yeah.
What about you?
Glitch is sort of so I mean, I've taken a step back myself, and could try to continue to study glitch as well through other spectrums, and generalizing a bit about media theory as well. But
Hmm.
glitch has sort of become a language to me, and not just to me, but to all of us, whether a curator, whether artists, whether visitors, whether we produce or not glitch art, we speak the same language, and this language is being spoken by more and more people. And in its fact, the glitch has become a time symbolic, which is not a bad thing. Symbols are important for life, and having symbols to talk about complex feelings is important. And so the symbolism in glitch art um, is a good thing. There's I do feel myself, maybe that's more personal, but drifting a little bit away from the scene, as I I love glitch for the second language that it gave. Also, when Rosa Menkman used to talk about the language of glitch, and I think she uses these words, the language of glitch, but she's not referring to the language of glitch, which I'm referring to, but she's almost referring to the language of the ethics of glitch, and
Hmm.
the ethics of breaking, and the ethics of going inside of a system to see it more critically. And so that's one of the direction I've been going a lot in recently, which is understanding systems, breaking these systems, trying to find, of course, a questionable concept of newness all the time because I'm obsessed with that. But it's also a direction which sometimes I do regret because the language of glitch in its first sense, in the sense that I was talking about it at the beginning of this response, is also a language which is full of beautiful stories and full of feelings, and which is less system oriented and more human oriented as well. And that's something that I personally sometimes tend to forget in my practice, that art is made by humans, and art isn't just artifacts, and art isn't just this activism, or when I mean activism, I don't mean actual activism, but trying to just break these mediums, find new ways of using AI, for instance. And so I'm really happy that these two, of course, in some parts of the glitch scene they are separating. In some parts they're remerging back together. In some parts they never left each other. But I'm happy that they coexist in their different ways.
Yeah, I think we both, yeah, we've been in it long enough that we're kind of at the point that we actually have not that we don't want to continue to experience it more, but that we're
Mm.
trying to take all the pattern information and data that we have and kind of almost say something about it,
Mm.
at least from like say not necessarily something about it itself, but that it's given us that we want to research
There was a tiny
about.
glitch where I couldn't hear you that much, but it was just like a few words, and I think I guessed them.
I
I hope
guess
the other people guessed them as well.
I do. I mean, I'm hopeful, but there is like, there is I mean, maybe it's not a moot point, or maybe it is a moot point rather. But we do live in like a pretty capitalist society, and there is this huge never-ending commodification of art, of
Mm.
which glitch is no exception. And there's a lot of things that I thought which isn't it doesn't mean it changed. I think there's a lot of discussion of, digital art revolutionized, made things copy and pastable and all of these things, and we're kind of reverting back to having things like, I don't know, commodifying an
Mm.
original or some things. I don't think that that's necessarily in itself an issue,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not the same as it was before in terms of like modernist kind of ideologies. It is something different, but it is influenced by that with a bunch of layers of capitalism, yet still, I think, has the ability to kind of wiggle its way in and out of the system as Glitch likes to do. But with that in mind, I am both hopeful and also scared of
I
the future.
I have a tiny contrapoint as well on that, which is kind of interesting, is that we often talk about the this absorbative nature of capitalism to have absorbed the glitch aesthetics, and on one side people are mad because of that, and being like, oh well, you're just using the aesthetic language of glitches. What is true is the tactical uses of glitches, and the
Oh
thing is
yeah,
that,
are we doing
yeah,
that? What is
well,
like
we're not doing
the
what is
chart
glitch and what is
Okay.
not, but what I want to say is that the absorbative nature of capitalism doesn't stop the aesthetics of glitches. And one of the really good example of this is, I'm going to tell a tiny story here, is I don't know if you remember the artist Glitchar. I'm just going to
Mhm.
Google it real quick so that people see it. I know it's not on the show, but it's basically an artist who used to use the diacritics and weird characters in ASCII to destroy Facebook's interface. And so that, in a sense, is a tactical use of that medium. It's the true glitch. It's the newness, as in what you say. And what I wanted to say with the absorbative nature of capitalism not being solely focused on aesthetics is that a funny fact is that Facebook offered Glitcher €1,000 to sorry, I was on a video. Facebook offered Glitcher €1,000 every time he found a glitch, which of course he rejected. But that is a way that Facebook found to actually capitalize on the tactical misuse of a glitch, which is amazing. You'd be like, Usually, capital is made by the reuse of aesthetics, re-employing these aesthetics, but this is like actually employing the strategy of
Mm-hmm.
glitch to thin out bugs inside of their system. So I didn't want to end on this like really hardcore no, but like nobody is safe.
Nobody is safe. And
Defend
also,
yourself. But yeah.
I think ending on a note too of
Mm.
because we keep talking about generations, differences everybody like has with technology and glitch and all of these other things. Simultaneously, we have these differences, even like the idea of nostalgia we talked about.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like my hopes and worries of the future, which is vastly different from people who are just coming into glitch for the first time. And there's going to like we are so far over here, but there's going to continuously be people coming into glitch for the first time, because I know all of us, if we're talking to people and we're like, I do glitch art, only more recently is it like you have a better chance of them understanding what you mean whatsoever. And usually it's like, I think I know what that looks like,
Mm.
is what they say. But like the level that we're like trying to talk to or something, it may never be where people get because they don't desire it. But it's also like you keep saying like newness, but it's a newness, not like, I mean, for people at large too, but that newness is still there. It's just not
Yeah.
there for you anymore.
Mm.
um okay, yeah, that's, I don't know if that's a sad or a happy note, but
That is a sad note a little bit, but I'm happy to do it with you.
it's supposed to be helpful.
Well, I think this is the end of the stream. If you're watching this from the future, thanks. If you're watching this from the present, happy you chimed in and watched it till the end. I'm really chuffed to have been invited. Would be to do that with do that for fubar again. I really hope that next year we'll be able to do it IRL. Um, I thought this was gonna be more like a dungeon escape game with these crazy maps that we got with the artworks more than a conference, but it actually ended up pretty well. I mean, I managed to say what I wanted to say, and I guess you managed to. Um, take care. Goodbye, people.
Ta-da.